If you're using Airtable, you must understand how you will be charged and why. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down Airtable's current pricing as of mid-2025. So if you're struggling to understand your Airtable bill, or if you just want to make sure that you pick the right plan for your business, stick around and let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Gareth and this is Gap Consulting. It's my mission here to help you unlock the full potential of Airtable and the related no-code tools that you might be using in your software builds. Now, before we get into the heart of things, I first want to invite you to join me for some templates. I've put together some free Airtable templates, free to you, that you can access by signing up at gapconsulting.io/templates. And when you do, check your email. We will send you the links to those free templates along with some videos to help you get started quickly. But without further ado, let's hop on into my screen here. We're going to start by taking a look at Airtable's pricing page, and then I'm going to go into detail on my actual Airtable account and show you how to navigate these different components so that you really understand why you're being charged and what you're going to be charged for. So here we go on Airtable pricing. This website, by the way, simple enough, airtable.com/pricing. I'll include the link wherever you found this video. But you can see that there are four key different elements to Airtable's pricing. The free plan doesn't offer a lot of robust features as you would expect, but it is enough for you to get started in Airtable and to determine if this is a software you want to continue to pursue. So it's enough to help you build your first few different solutions and get a feel for how things work in here. So right off the bat, you'll see that you have a number of unlimited bases on the free account. So bases are solutions that we build in Airtable. Every base, it's kind of shorthand for database. You can have any number of databases inside of your account when you're on the free plan. And that is obviously then true for all of the paid plans as well. So this is a key takeaway for Airtable because a lot of what we're going to be talking about in terms of pricing has to do with the whole package, the whole account, or the workspace, which is kind of like a folder for databases. It's your account, but it's how you store all of those databases within that account. So your workspace can have its own rules, but then your databases can also have their own rules. And let's look at the very next thing here on the free plan. 1,000 records per base. So you can have an unlimited number of databases on the free plan, but you can only have 1,000 records per database. Now here's the rub. If you're building a solution that's going to scale, obviously this is insufficient. 1,000 records is not enough. Your initial reaction might be to say, well, fine, I can just copy that database, right? Just create another database. But here's the deal. Every database that you build, when you start leveraging third-party automation or integrating it with all these other things, if you duplicate that database, then every new duplication will also need to be authenticated and integrated. And so it's not a scalable way for you to grow a business. If you're using Airtable for business, which most or many of us are, it really makes no sense for you to be on the free plan past just trying it out. Because again, it will be impossible for you to scale. You're going to have to, every time you create a new copy of a database, sync it up, integrate it with all your third-party tools, and it just doesn't make a ton of sense to pursue that. So the number of records per base is going to be one of the biggest things that we're looking at as we're comparing the different pricing tiers, because how much data you can store in there has a big impact on your scalability. Now we can just see at a glance, if you're looking at the team plan, which is $24 US per month per seat. Okay, that plan is going to give you 50,000 records per base, which is already 50 times greater than the free plan. And I'll be completely honest with you, we have a relatively small team, under 20 people here at Gap Consulting as of the time of this recording, and this is perfectly sufficient for a business of our size. Yes, we could go larger, we could go with the business tier, which I'll get to in a moment, but for our current size, 50,000 records, we have not even come close to hitting this yet. I think we're maybe about halfway there, and we've been using this solution, the biggest solution in particular that I'm thinking about. We've been using it for over a year and a half at this point. So we've had a year and a half on the team plan that we have not even come close to hitting that 50,000 record limitation. Now, I do want to go back to the fact that this is a limitation per base, not per table. This is a very important thing to realize because a table, you have multiple tables. Each table is a data set and it's all connected inside of a base, right? So as a quick example, you could have contacts, you could have companies, and these are two different tables and they link together. And then you could have projects and every project links to a company or a client. So in this way, you get 50,000 records total. So it's not per table. If you have 50,000 clients, that means you have no room left to add companies or to add projects. So keep this in mind, figure out how many different tables you're going to need in your database, and then add up the total number of records that you're going to see across all of those things. I also need to highlight for you, if you are building a more complicated database solution, which you probably are if you're considering the team or business plans, well, in those cases, you're going to have line items. Many, many times if you're building invoices or project tracking, it's very common for us to see line item details within database builds. And those particular tables, which we also call junction tables, can really add up on your record count. So if you are leveraging junction tables of any sort inside of your Airtable builds, you definitely want to be even more conscious of your record limitations when you're building and choosing your different Airtable plans. Now, the next big limitation is the number of editors that you can bring into a solution. So on a free plan, and it makes sense that they're going to limit that, on the free tier, you can only share this information. Whatever you build in Airtable, you can share with 5 people. Well, technically 4 because you are one of them as the builder. So again, you're not going to get much mileage out of that free plan, but it is enough for you to figure out if Airtable is going to work for you. So start off on the free plan. When you're ready, upgrade. Once you get to any paid plan, this is no longer a limitation, but do note that every new editor that you add to your solutions is going to charge a new seat for you. And this amount right here is, again, per seat. So whatever plan you're on, you will pay that amount per editor or commenter or creator that you add in your Airtable account. So you can invite other people in your organization to collaborate with you and work in the same database solution, but you're going to be charged for every user, and it's the same amount per user. Now, let's also talk about automation. This is a big one, as well as attachments. These are 2 more limitations that you might be looking at when you're considering different Airtable plans. Airtable, number 1, has an attachment field type. So you can only bring in so many different attachments before you're going to hit the max amount of space that they will give you. They only give you 1 gig of attachment space in an Airtable free plan. That increases to 20 gigs and then 100 gigs when you go from free to team to business. And then ultimately at the enterprise scale level, you're getting 1,000 gigs of attachment space. Now, we've had many interactions, many conversations with clients who are looking to build a digital asset management tool in Airtable. So if you're looking to build a DAM, you might consider Airtable, but you will almost certainly need that enterprise level for this, because if you are uploading a lot of big files to your Airtable account, then you're looking at that 1,000 gigs of attachment space being the hard stop on your attachment allotment, if you will. So this is a limitation to consider. Now, there are workarounds, of course, to this. If you don't need the file attached directly in Airtable, one of the most common workarounds that we see, if this is a hard stop for you, is adding some integration with a true, let's say, file storage program. I'm thinking like Box, Dropbox, Google Drive. You can build it so that folders are created automatically when certain things happen in Airtable, and then you can just upload those files, your different files, to those folders, and then in Airtable, you could just click a button to open that folder. You know exactly where that is, and it's not going to be using up your Airtable attachment space. So this is a great workaround if you find a hard stop on the attachments. If not, no problem. Drop those attachments directly in Airtable and go about your merry way. All right, but the other one here is automation runs. How many different automations can you perform? And Airtable's way of counting automation is a bit different from many other tools. Tools like Zapier, Make, they tend to look at how many action steps or operations are performed in your automation. So if you have an automation that does 5 different things for Zapier or Make, they're going to charge you 5 or 6 different operations for that automation every time it performs its magic. Airtable's not that way. Airtable is a lot more generous, let's say, with the amount of automation they give you. It doesn't matter how many steps are in your automation. What Airtable cares about is how many times did you let the automations do their thing. So in your account, you can have up to 100 automation runs on the free plan. Again, this is the perfect amount to help you get sorted and test Airtable out. But once you start using it seriously, you're looking at 25,000 automation runs, so quite a huge increase when you get to the team plan, and then 4 times that to 100,000 automation runs if you're opting for the business plan. Now, the business plan, I should have mentioned, works just like the team plan. It is $54 per month if you're paying monthly. Of course, Airtable does offer discounts if you pay your bill annually. And that $54 a month, of course, is a per seat or per license charge. And again, that amount is per anyone that you add to your Airtable account that has creator, editor, or commenter access to either your Airtable database or to an interface. This is important to understand. You can have people on a free Airtable account or a read-only Airtable account, and they will not incur charges for you to share your information with, but they can't do anything with it. All they can do is look at the stuff that you share. So yes, you can share with an infinitely large number of people, no problems there, without incurring a bill. But if you're giving them any kind of commenter, editor, or better access, that is when you're going to incur a bill for that user. So you have to be really mindful of this. Now, let's talk about how to manage all of this. We can flip into our Airtable account, and over here I have workspaces. The thing to take away here is that every workspace has its own plan. So here I have a very old workspace called Gap Templates Free Workspace. And you can see up here that this is on the free plan. So this particular workspace, although I have full unfettered access to it, I am the person on this access with billable access. I am not paying for anybody on this, but it's on the free plan. Right? And so it has the same limitations that we just talked about for that free plan, up to 100 automation runs, up to 1,000 records per base, etc. But this is really helpful for number 1, as I said, getting started in Airtable, making sure it's a fit for you. And number 2, if you're building anything that is, maybe something you want to copy and paste, or in our case, the templates that I told you about at the beginning of this video, I don't want to pay for those templates, right? I don't want to pay for you to access those templates for free, but I can build them in a free space and share them with people and not incur any charges. So that is a helpful way to think about the free plan. But I have all these other workspaces on the side, a bunch of different workspaces that I have access to. And you can see that some of them are paid and some are not, right? So I can go into, let's say, Gap Consulting here. And if I want to see access to the actual workspace itself, the plan and manage the bill and all of that, in the upper right corner, I can click here and go to Workspace Settings. And this is going to take me to the billing for that workspace, and you can see who has different access to it and what's going on inside of that space. Now, this is where we can manage the billable collaborators in this space. If we want to click, we can share access with people at a database level and also at the overall workspace level. So if we go to add or manage the workspace here and we manage access, you'll see the people who have access to the overall workspace. And this is like saying they have access to the folder of databases. But very often inside of an organization, what we want to do instead is share access with one or more people to a specific solution, not to the whole folder of stuff, but instead to a specific database. And in order to do that, we actually have to go into the database itself and share access with people. So here's where we can manage access. So in this particular case, I had Sarah from my organization inside of this database, but she does not have access to the overall folder of databases. So you can think of it as kind of a hierarchy. And obviously, if you have folder access, you then inherit access to everything inside the folder. Makes sense, right? Also, inside of a particular solution, we have two levels of sharing. We can share access to the data, which is all of the access to the back-end data stuff, or more commonly, we'll share access with people to the front-end interfaces that we built. And the nice thing about this is if you share access to an interface, people can only see what you want them to see. You get to cultivate what they see and what they're allowed to edit. It's a much better way to scale a solution within an organization. Generally, what we see is one or two people on the back end with data access, and then everybody else on a team accessing the data through interfaces, and therefore not messing things up, not breaking things, and not causing the whole thing to implode. So definitely take that into account when you're sharing access. Just a couple more things to round out here. There are some upsells that you might opt for inside of Airtable. And so you can add Airtable AI to your bill, and it's going to be a per user additional charge on top of what you're paying for your particular tier. So if you want to toggle on Airtable AI for your workspace, as you can see back here, we have the option to turn that on right here, and it's going to incur a charge for everybody on this particular place, right? So everyone's going to see AI capabilities inside of the workspace, but there will be an additional charge. And, that is kind of TBD. I think Airtable is still testing out these plans. For the team plan that we use, I think we pay an extra $6 per user for that AI access. And frankly, we get such value out of the AI that it's a no-brainer. Now also here, you're going to see that we have a Portals add-on that is available as well. So with Portals, this allows us to share an interface externally with people who are not in our domain. So they don't have a Gap Consulting email address, and we're essentially able to give them access to an interface at a reduced cost. Now, the bad part about this is that portals are available kind of in blocks. So we have to share it with 15 people. So we buy 15 available seats. If we don't use them all, we're still paying for all 15. But the portal is a much more affordable solution than actually adding somebody to our internal solutions. They get the same kind of, cultivated experience where we can bring them into interfaces, limit what they see or do, but it's vastly different in terms of cost, right? So we're going to reduce the cost and not pay full price for that person who might only need to push one or two buttons. So I'll let you explore Portals on your own time. It's still currently in beta, so this is still subject to change. But right now, the cost of a Portal user is less than half of the cost of a regular user inside of Airtable. Now, there's one really important thing to point out before we wrap this video, and it is that you can pay more than once for the same Airtable user. And this happens quite frequently, especially with us doing consultant work. This is one of the things I don't love about their pricing model, but it's part of, kind of doing the per user and how they're added to account model. So here's what happens. I have, in my case, two different Airtable accounts. This plan here and another plan down here. One is on the Teams plan, one is on a business plan, and we are, as I said, sharing them, working internally. I'm a paid user on both of these plans. That's kind of ridiculous. But again, like I said, part of what has to happen in charging per seat per user. Also, when clients add me to their workspaces, they are paying for me to be a user on their workspace. So if you look at the total amount that is paid on my behalf to access Airtables on a monthly basis, I have my own $54 a month on my business plan. I've got my $24 a month on my Teams plan. And then I could be working on 3 or 4 client projects within a month and incurring bills on their plans as well. Like for me, I'm probably bringing in $250 or more a month just for my email to have access to multiple different databases in Airtable because they're all on different accounts. That's a little silly, but it's something to be aware of. So if you have, your own account that you pay for and then somebody adds you to their account, there could be a double charge there. So take a look and make sure that you've structured things appropriately in most efficient way possible so that you have reduced your bill on a month-to-month basis. I know we went pretty quickly here, but if you have questions that we did not address, swing by our website. I'll include links below and you can get all your questions answered. Of course, if you loved the video, we'd love it if you could give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, but most importantly, keep on building.